Hello, friends. This is Miss Katina. Good morning. I want to talk to you today about legacy. Legacy is, something important that has had an impact on your life. Sometimes from family members, teachers, friends, and I want to remind you that none of us lives forever. Each of us has an expiration date. And I think it's very important that we honor the people who have had a positive impact on our lives while they're still alive and can hear us telling them how much they mean to us. I want to encourage you, if you have grandparents, aunts, uncles, your parents, people that had positive impact on your life. They may have taught you something. Maybe your grandfather taught you woodworking. Maybe your dad taught you how to work on cars. And sometimes it isn't always a relative. This could be a teacher, a coach. Maybe you had a football coach, a baseball coach, basketball coach, soccer coach, lacrosse coach, swimming coach, anybody that had a positive impact on your life. Some of you have played sports, and that's how you went to college. Some of you played sports and it kept you out of trouble and taught you teamwork, taught you dedication, kept you from drinking and smoking as a teenager. So sometimes we need to really think about how important those things are when we have at least one person in our life who provides some guidance, some support when we need it. And I want you to think about those people. Have you spoken to that person in a while? Is one of your grandparents in a nursing home? Have you been to see them? Does your grandparents live in another state? Have you spoken to them? Have you visited them? Have you brought your grandmother flowers? Does she like flowers? There's nothing wrong with giving someone flowers when they're in the cemetery and they're already buried, but it's really more meaningful to give them their flowers while they're alive and have those conversations. Some of you have grandparents who are great cooks. You may have a grandmother that was a great baker, or she made the best casserole, or she made the best gumbo, or best greens, or whatever it is that she cooked. Chicken and dumplings. I want you to think about, how can I get that recipe? Sometimes grandmothers don't always share the entire recipe, and even if you did have the recipe and follow it, it still doesn't taste as good as grandma's. But it's good to get those recipes. Ask someone, hey, how do you make grandma's sweet potato pie? How do you make Aunt Shirley's pumpkin pie? Ask those things. See if you can get those things written down. Talk to your parents and grandparents about where you come from, especially if you're immigrants. Ask them about what life was like for them in the old country. Even if you're not immigrants, maybe you live in Chicago and your family members were from Mississippi. Ask them about what life was like in Mississippi and how they came to travel to Chicago. Our elders in our lives have so much. They have a wealth of knowledge. They have great stories. That's the most wonderful thing about older people. They have great stories. They can tell you things about their childhood and even mix in some historical facts that happened while they were alive. So I want to encourage you to find old photos, put together maybe a photo album, because these things are really wonderful and they're cherished items sometimes when we look back and we can say, oh, grandma used to be young. She had blonde hair when she was younger, or grandpa had green eyes, or just that's where Johnny gets his freckles, or whatever the case may be. Oh, grandpa was so tall, and athletic, or grandma was so short, and that's why most of the girls in the family are short. Some of these things are part of what makes us who we are, and we need to preserve these memories and cherish these things, and it helps us understand a little bit more about ourselves. But it's very important to have meaningful conversations with our relatives. We've lost the art of conversation. We're sending, a happy birthday text now instead of making a phone call or going to see the person on their birthday. We're sending a text for things that are important, and we should just pick up the phone and make a phone call, or go visit the person if you're able to. Some of you live in town, in the same town, with your parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles, and you haven't seen them in months. I don't know what happened, but I want you to think about Is there something I need to resolve? Is there an apology that needs to be given? And I understand sometimes you do have to separate yourself from people because of toxic behaviors, people not respecting your boundaries. I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying if there's some little small thing that happened that you can resolve and you feel comfortable doing that, I would encourage you to do that. And I would encourage you to enjoy your time with family. Times are very tough right now. We're going through a lot with the state of the country. Today is election day. So please get out and vote. There's a lot of things that are affecting us that we don't have control over. The prices of food and gas and housing and all these natural disasters that have occurred. We cannot control those things. But what you can control is having and maintaining good relationships with your families and friends and people who are close to you or used to be close to you. So I would encourage you, please let people know if they have had a positive impact on you, and do it while they're living. Let them know. They may not know. And some of you have relatives who may have other problems in their lives, and they don't think that they made a good contribution to the family. Sometimes we have relatives who may struggle with mental health conditions or substance use disorders, but those people still have good contributions into the family. You know, you may have had an Uncle Johnny that knows how to work on cars, and anytime somebody's car would break down, he would be the one to help. Or if you had a flat tire, he's the person you could call to come and change your tire. Like, you know, he would do it so quickly. So let him know that, hey, you appreciate that about him, because he may feel because of his drug use problem that he didn't have anything useful to contribute to the family, but the family counted on him for this particular thing. Please let people know that, because sometimes people feel unworthy and they don't realize that, yes, I may have a problem or some things that I'm struggling with, but I'm still a good participant and useful. I have useful contributions to the family, and that's how I contribute, by helping with fixing someone's car. Or you may have an aunt, maybe she didn't finish high school, but she babysits everybody's kids when they need help. She's always there for people. Or she cooks all the dinners when we have gatherings for holidays or barbecues or whatever. Let that person know that you appreciate what they're doing. Okay, it could make a big difference in their life. So think about that. Think about legacy. Who has had a positive impact in your life? Have you told them that? And reach out to them. I would encourage you to reach out to them soon. Okay, so just thoughts to ponder from Miss Katina. Have a wonderful day.